Good morning, dear friends. This morning, Liberia came to my mind while driving this morning on everything that have gone wrong, and that is gone wrong, and that is very, very, very wrong about Liberia. Number one, there isn't any sign, anything in sight, in plain or close sight, to tell anyone who know how to reason, understand political structure, understand how a country is supposed to be, understand what Liberia looked like many years back, before the Zorgos administration and after Zorgos administration. And after war, 14 years of war, the social status of Liberia, what have really, everything have been wrong with Liberia from the time it was founded. And as years and decades passed by, it was getting worse. It's been getting worse, 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 and worse. But yet, this is a nation that was highly respected by the entire world. A nation that participated in the formation of the leading world organization. Like today, we got United Nations, we got OAU, and then OAU now turned to African Union. Every organization that the world ever established, Liberia being involved. The African Unity, Organization of African Unity, was founded in Liberia, Northern Liberia, Saniqually, was where they had a meeting under the Zorgos Administration. The whole world turned to Liberia for rescue. Political prisoners from African countries and other parts of the world sought refuge in Liberia. Liberia cooperated alongside the United States of America for the two great wars, World War I and World War II. Liberia was at the center of it all. Liberia has been at the center of it all until when the nation finally decided to go down. 1980 was the beginning of the final death of Liberia. I want anyone, I put up challenge for anyone to come and challenge any word that I have mentioned this morning about Liberia. Now, the reason why I emphasize on the social structure, social academic structure of our country is not because, it's because number one, I thank God, I bless God for the way how He processed me. Growing up in a village as a special child among witches and every dangerous thing, and nothing harmed me. Up to the time God processed a home that were going to raise me to be who I am today. With many arrows and spears pointing at me, all because I decided to serve God and preach His word and to preach the truth of the gospel to mankind. So I don't, like, for instance, God brought social media for people like us. People like us, where people rise up against us. There There are some that feel that we're not even supposed to call the name of God. But those things, when it comes to that, it just creates laughter in my heart and sorrow for how horrible human being has degenerated spiritually, socially, and everything to determine why someone should not preach the gospel. Hey, that's a good story. But I'm here this morning to contemplate on Liberia. Why is it our country destroyed and there's no sign of when it's going to be invaded? But with that being said, I would think that God took a 79 years to 80 years old man who had demonstrated extreme honesty. People can, all the Liberian people say, oh, Pele people can do this because Pele people are afraid. Loma people are scary people. Yes, Pele and Loma and other tribes are guarded by their indigenous tradition. What the traditional education taught them to be honest and respect government and be good people and be respectful. Almost. That's who Pele people are. I'm not talking about contemporary post-war Pele people, because the war was centered right in the middle of Liberia. Bon County was the major seat of the crisis that took place in our country, you know. So I come here this morning. How can we fix Liberia? This is the biggest question. How? Has the process started? No. But I do have hope in Boakai Administration, because there is a philosophy that say a bad beginning will give a good ending, and a good beginning will get a bad ending. You got that? A philosophy, an African philosophy says a bad beginning gives a good ending, and a good beginning will give a bad ending. Two probabilities. Why is it a bad beginning will end good? Because that's how the Boakai administration look like it's starting bad. But there's another issue. Who supposed to determine that? Because before you know a bad beginning had a good ending, you must be knowledgeable and intelligent enough to know that. And vice versa to that, you must be knowledgeable enough and conscious enough to know that. Because the reason is that when things that's supposed to be good start bad, and you got people to work with, that's another thing. So if we come so okay, for the impression that I'm getting from social media that, oh, the Boakai administration starting hard and bad, of course, myself, I know that. It's starting hard and not too good. But the reason why things will begin bad and later become good is that when you cannot hardly find anyone to trust, when you cannot find anyone in a nation, in a family, in an organization, in anything that brings human together, when you cannot find anyone to trust. The Bible describes it as people who are lovers of themselves. That's what the Bible describes it. The scripture. People who are lovers of themselves. If you're dealing with, and Boakai has inherited an extremely damaged country. So let's circle back. How can a country be fixed? I'm driving a car right now, right? Let's set the analysis, because a lot of you people who listen, most of you people driving, especially those of us who came to the West, people who are in Liberia who never ever have that money, they will ever drive. When you come here, you gotta learn how to drive, because that's the only way you'll be able to work and earn something. So then look at this car. They were driving this car this morning and running my mouth. Suppose a breakdown. And I realized that my car break down all of a sudden, and the engine turned off. And I tried to start it because I don't know what happened. Maybe something happened, and I tried to start it. And then I spent for this morning to the evening trying to turn the key to start the car. A car that was driving home, and all of a sudden it comes to a full stop. Then I sitting there trying to start the car for 8 hours. So what do you think wrong with me? Look, that's the analysis. Because when I talk things, I try to bring about an analysis of what I'm talking about, so that people can get a practical experience. Because you're driving a car, all of a sudden the car just go off, and slowly you have to pull it on the side of the road to take it from out of the traffic. And then you decide to sit there and just turning, try to start it. When you look at 8 o'clock, you still trying to start the car. 10 that step, you're sitting on that one car. When you look 9 o'clock, when you look, you're going to 12 o'clock, but you're still sitting there trying to start the car. So tell me, what do you think? So what the condition of the driver, or you who driving the car and have come to that decision that the car turned off, you decide to spend the rest of the day trying to start the car, just turning the switch, putting the key and turn the key to get the car started. For the whole day you're sitting there. People coming and passing, I'm wondering what happened to you. Why this man, when I pass it 3 times, will sit in the car? Think about it. When people talk and bring analysis, think about it. So, is that where Liberia is now? Or a car that turned off and the driver sitting there trying to start it for the whole day, and nothing can tell him that the car will not start. He need to do something about it, because when a vehicle break down, they got people that call mechanics. In here, you got to tow it. Even Africa, your car break down the highway, you will find a way to tow it. Well, in Africa, your man will come, you put stick between the 2 cars, the tire on your car, you pull it. But here they put in tow truck, raise your car, set on the tow truck, and carry it to the garage. But here you sitting there for 24 hours trying to start the car, and the car can start, but you still trying to start the car. So what do I mean? How do this analysis fit into our situation? How does it fit? Liberia, from the time that I know Liberia, I don't know of any honest Liberian that I really know of, that I really decided to think about. The only president that came that was honest in that country, I know, Afakos I was talking. Yeah, they say Bagan Bafi, they make him look like he was corrupt. Ellen Johnson, all of them were on top for corruption. When he built the OAU Center, she was on top of that for corruption. I like her, I like her courage, she's a strong person, but because of the topic of Liberia, you got to say the truth. She did. Some of you people who listen, you're young, you don't know. As a parent, So, if Liberia is a car that stalls, because here in the automatic language, say the car stalls, S-T-A-L-L, the stall, because you're driving all of a sudden and turn off, and then it roll and stop. When the car stalls, that's what we call stalling. Then you're trying to start it. Boop, boop. But you stay there whole day, 24 hours, trying to start the car, turn the switch. And nothing there tell you that you're not supposed to do that, you're not supposed to go. Is it sound like Liberia? So, let's circle back. When we were growing up, we were in high school, we were in elementary school. I started school at age 10. Liberia had 90% illiteracy rate. People who cannot read and write and never went to school. 90%. Went to school but they still cannot read and write and understand nothing. 90%. In the 70s, the time I started knowing myself. We came to the 80s. Fortunately for us, God gave us a leader who realized that a highly 90% illiterate country can never survive, can never develop if you don't do something about it. And a bunch of half-educated group jumped out to influence the rest of the indigenous people against this president called Trouble, who said the country, there's no way that we can develop Liberia with 90% illiteracy rating. Never. So what Toba did? Toba said, the only way to develop Liberia except we eradicate ignorance. Ignorance, when you're stupid, when somebody gave you food, instead of putting salt in it, you put sand inside. That being ignorance. That's what Toba talk about. Ignorance, number one. Disease. When you put sand in that food and eat it, it gave you pancreatic cancer, or it gave you, what they call it? Yeah. It interfere with the intestine and develop a cancer. So, that's where the disease come from. Ignorant. You don't know what to eat, whether the food safe or clean drinking water. You don't know none of those things. How to do it. You just drinking, you just eating, you just cooking, anything. That ignorant disease. When you do that, then disease come. Then when disease overshadow the country, your life, then what happened? Poverty, because your mind disturbed, your mind, everything destroyed, and then poverty, because you will not be able to work, you will not be able to decide what to do. If even you work, you're able to save money, you're able to do nothing, you can't decide anything outside of that. Ignorant, disease, and poverty, right there. Poverty, which means the next thing you want is just to live, to stay and die. That's what Thomas said. We had to eradicate that three things in order to rebuild Liberia. And the reason to do that, he didn't stop that. He started building educational system throughout the country, primary, kindergarten, elementary school, throughout Liberia. He went to the hinterland where people are far from civilization. Those countries that were far away from Monrovia, they were far from civilization. Grand Chile. Tower emphasis was on Grand Chile, because at least the people of Nima, they are very brilliant people. They are not far from Bon County. They went to school, they were good. But the Grand Chile people was so distant away from Monrovia, because Monrovia became Liberia. So Toba focused on Grand Chile. He said, we must bring the Grand Chile people to civilization. That we call civilization. Civilization, to know what to put in your food to eat, to not eat poison, to not contaminate your food, all the kind of things that part of civilization. To know things that you can't do because it will make you sick or it will kill you. That's what over the three things, the three pillars of rescuing Liberia: ignorance, eradication of ignorance, disease, and poverty. But what happened? Mischief politician jump up and they didn't rest until they destroy him. And what happened? When they destroy him, it meant that the only person other our country I don't know what the population will be, 1.5 million or 2 million people, 1.5 million or something like that. One man knew the problem and decided to solve it. How can you have 90% illiteracy rating and you expect for the country to develop, you expect for those in the street that have been affected by the war, 1980 crisis. Then the crisis went up to 1989. It started. 14 to 15 years. They see illiteracy rating still there. Because when Towa died, the educational system was done. Couple of years up to Doe administration of good. Because you still have professors, you have correct teachers that Towa had to go to different countries to bring in. Because there was nobody who was qualified, had an academic standard to educate Liberians. So Towa had to go outside. So when something spoil, you want to fix it, you got to know what caused it to spoil. Don't be that you sitting in the car, you're turning the switch, turning the switch, turning the switch, turning the switch. For 1 hour, 2 hours, 8 hours, 12 hours, sitting in the car, turning the switch. When you supposed to be calling mechanic, but you still turning the switch. That's what happened in Liberia. We continue trying to start the car, turning the car to start, the car cannot start because it's dead. That's what the scenario of Liberia right now. Ome Boakai or honest person, the Ome is suffering for who to put in the government that have the same mind that he had all these years to not rob government. That's what the Ome is suffering for. You can't find good people. You only find mouth runner, people who run their mouth. They go and learn small part of the book, and that one they make no. You get it 365 days in a year, they will be talking that one thing. By the time you erase it for influence, then they're done. That's the kind of country we have. The people who are educated, the rest of the people hate them. So who will come and help Ome Boakai? Ome Boakai. So we listen to social media. You see people that sitting there talking to some. As right, access door is. I loved what Stanton brought in. It was good that Stanton brought in because access door is a representation of what have gone wrong with the country. Because he comes from a government that screwed up the country, that did the worst ever in the history of Liberia. Then he's sitting there trying to compare with Ome Boakai, who just started a few months into his 6 years. The only thing that he ever said, that made sense to me, that I cheer him, was the idea, because I started talking about that. What they came for, why Ellen Johnson then had to go to create 9 years for people that sitting in a House of Representatives, that if you take survey, if you find 2 that will already know, or 3 that will already know, and more than that, then come and tell me how the matches work. Because I know the people who's supposed to be in the 2 houses, the academic standard of them. I know. And even they went to law school, what kind of law school, what kind of standard University of Liberia got to teach? Everybody's screaming. So scramble for Liberia, scramble for job, scramble for the country money, scramble for everything that happened to our country. How can we face the country? Now, you have, when the war came, Liberia was still 90% illiteracy rate, because the first census that was conducted by UNMIL was 2003. UNMIL said the 90% dropped to 85%. Then the analysis continued that the 15% that so make up to 100%, the 15% can read and write. They can't understand anything what they read and write. So what does it mean for Liberia? Do we have any educated people or people who know what they're doing? That was UNMIL told us. And since 2003 up to now, have the literacy rating reduced or it have tripled. You can't overdo it, not because people didn't go to school. It's not a point, it's the fact of the country. The only way we can get the country fair, except we got to get people to work with. The government, the woman cannot find people to work with. Everybody working on social media, working on Facebook, working on Spoon TV because Spoon carry her camera around. Everybody carries cell phone around, recording, put on Facebook. Everybody doing that. How would they call the country is paralyzed beyond repair? When you say, the last end, the last part of paralysis, where you cannot shake any part of your body. That's the last part, because when you paralyze, sometimes you can move your foot hardly, you can barely move it. But when you paralyze to an extent where no part of your body can shake, that's the end of it. The next thing, you're waiting for death. That's what happened to Liberia. Liberia is paralyzed beyond repair, beyond human understanding. How can an honest old man help a country when he cannot find people to help him to help the country? Before 1990, there were 90% illiteracy rating. The educational system, school, everything broken down. With a full money teacher. Everybody to go on social media and download all that lesson and give and sell it to the children. The man who downloaded the lesson, he able to interpret what he download, but he gave it to the student. So who's supposed to help the student to understand it? That's where the problem is, that the education system we have. So consider that. Whether you like it or not, I went to Liberia, spent 1 year I made all my research. After 27 years, including the war and everything, my return to Liberia. The first 4 months when I arrived 2017, I started my research. And that research that I made, it was done in tears. Tears, many days have passed. When you hear Liberian people talking and doing a hand like this, taking a hand like this, then it is serious. Anybody, anytime you see Liberian men talking like that, if you can help, go and speak to that person. My friend, what happened? If you listen to that story, you got tears in your body, you will cry. Any Liberian that you walk, you see them doing a hand like that by themselves, they're standing there, go and ask them. If you don't cry, then you're not a human being. That's what our country gone to. The poor old man honest. When you put the other person, everybody get on here, they go on social media, they on here, more the other person do this on it. The old man is there, but for me, my trust in Boakai is my trust in God. Because I know that God is not the God that I know, is not a confused God. To allow an old man, 79 to 80 years old, to come into a 100% destroyed nation to become president. When you got the people that's supposed to replace generation to generation, all of them screw up as a sport. When something screw up, it's done. When white people say screw up, it's screw up. Generation that screw up beyond human imagination. In the first place, Liberian people go to name, they named them Zorgo to make fun out of it. Zorgo calling another Liberian Zorgo. Zorgo calling Zorgo a Zorgo. Because if you call them Zorgo, it means that you yourself, you're the first seeing Zorgo. Because if you check how beyond you calling them Zorgo, you worse than them. Because you don't know what happened. If you knew what happened to them, that got in the street, that scattering all of the ghettos, and surviving on drugs, and surviving on stealing, you don't know what happened. The ghettos in our country is organized. It's an organized crime. But ex-general, just how MPFL was structured, the how Liberia been structured on a ghetto. This time is not using gun. They're using gun privately because they're using gun to go and rob people. But all of those things you see, they're stealing. Anything they steal from you in Liberia. Why is it when you go to find the CIC, who is the head of the ghetto in that area that is stealing to play, they will give you all your property back untouched, but you got to pay for it. You know what I'm saying? That's why they did that. Because they look north, south, east, and west. There's no more nothing to loot. They looted everything, all the things where they looted, all destroyed. Some of the hustle what they build, they can't maintain that break, then they end up selling it. So they're going to crime to survive. So when we take those children for in the street and begin to making them human being, there is all of the social, the United Nations, that money they send, all of the organizations that were funded, it was funded for somebody to get that own the money. It was not targeted to recover the young generation. I don't say they say. I say because when I saw it, everybody know all the social services words and words of it. They can sit there and quote it in front of you and say, oh yeah, this person, that doctorate degree, forget it, that center language where you created on spoon, say blah. That just blah, everything that blah. And in English, those of you who listen, when Liberian people say, when a Liberian man says blah, it means that something that is not true. Something is nonsense. Blah. It's something blah mean. When you listen to Liberian Spoon TV, if you hear blah, it means that that thing is not true, it's false and fake. Because sometimes somebody speaking English, then they incorporate language in it that you don't understand. Most of you people want to listen to Spoon TV, but some of the wording that you will not understand. The one they call blah. Oh, that blah. If you say blah, it means it's not true. So I just gave you that education for those of you who listen to Spoon and the Liberian words, terminology coming into it. If the blah mean lie or not true, that's mess, nonsense. It irrelevant. That's the meaning of blah. And Stanton created that Liberian English. Thank God for him, for his station and everything. And so I came this morning. We had not started. We had not started. If I had the power and the money, I would have done everything to go to the international community if they wanted Liberia to be developed, to establish a stewardship government. There have been so many countries that have benefited from stewardship government from the time the World War I and World War II. They had to form government in exile and take them to countries, African countries, other countries, to make sure that they recover those countries. That what needed to be done for them. But everybody was fighting to say, oh, they didn't want to listen to it because they wanted to go in government, to go and steal and take their own. I heard it, yeah, when we get there, we'll take our own. That's it. Today, the damaging that owns the future of their own children, they don't even know. They don't even care about children because they even sacrificing them for job, to demons. So they don't even care for their own children. What more about those ones that have been spoiled on the street? You are not even started the process of trying to recover Liberia. None. You are not started. How can you go in the ghetto to go get somebody to be Minister of Finance? Or you want accounting? That the ghetto you're gonna go find? Even those they got university student. Oh, when I visited the ghetto, university student, continental student, they are all in the ghetto. But they are mentally disturbed because they are on drugs. And they told me that Pape, when I went to the ghetto, they said we're not only selling drugs, we're using spirituality to sell the drugs. The guys there in the ghetto, when they open their mouth, smile, all that teeth brown, you can't see no wetness. Those are the girls that sit on top of the drugs and they chant. They naked themselves and sit on top of the drug and chant and say, if any man takes a drug that I squatting on and they don't come back to buy it, then another woman there, you can't go give me the thing. That's how. And when you take, that's what got the drugs business escalators to a very horrible status, because it's been the spirituality. I don't say God sent me to the ghettos. I went with Evangeline King and I got to learn all of that. They say they came to me. Some of them I met, you them from Bolivarian camp. I met two of them. I met continental students. All of the people, University of Liberia, good students, because from the way they speak, you know that they are good. One of them told me, I said, my parents want them to go to I got good parents. But when I go home, the thing that bring me back to the ghetto, I can't feel it because we're dealing with no spirituality to get to sell the drugs. That's my eyewitness account. And I got a picture. If you people have seen the picture that I post one time, I got a pictures. When I went to the ghetto in Liberia with Evangeline King. And I was speaking to them. All of them said, Papi, where you coming from? Everywhere I went, Liberians, where you coming from? Where you coming from? But Liberian people, by the time you start doing some of the things that president basically wrong there, I almost slapped people who asked me, you want to be president for Liberia because they heard what I was saying, what I was talking. And I almost slapped somebody. I told them, don't ever tell me that. That I being president that will help this country? We got more concern. I'm concerned about you people's life, that you're living on drugs. You got to use spirituality to sell drugs so that people can come by and keep buying it. People can't introduce those kind of terrible thing to our citizens and we sit down there joking about it. So I just stopped by this morning to tell you people, those of you who own there, Sister Dorothy Williams, my girl, what's up? Everything. Stephen busy, my son. They're my new son, girl. And that's my hormonal son. Mother small. That's my America. You know what I'm talking about? So I stopped by this morning. How can we fix Liberia? We need to get international community, countries, America, Canada, all the countries to beg them to send social services, to open the establish social services institution all throughout the country, where these children will be carried out to rehabilitate their minds, take them off drugs completely. We got to use the word of God to fix Liberia. I'm not talking about the money-making financial gospel who all the churches looking for US dollar. I'm not talking about that kind of church. I'm talking about people who are looking for United States life of Liberian. United States life of Liberian. That's what that kind of people, churches I'm looking for. And if we can do, I want that so-called thing that I trust, that the Lambert Mother Nelson Church. Well, I didn't go to a lot of them. I went to a few. But Mother Nelson came from the old school side, and she decided to maintain the word of God. First of all, the dress code to go to church, that when we were coming up, she maintained it in her church. You in the choir, there's certain way you cannot dress to come to church. That's what I know when I'm growing up. And all those values are dead. We need to recover those, bring those values back. How can we bring them back when nobody in the country understands nothing? So, that's it. Because the only way we got to target. Look at what happened. Last night, Stanton was frustrated. People in the house they taking 30. I don't know where that one thing I'm now Ellie Johnson for. I like her. She fought. She's a fighter. But I'm mad with her and she bereaved right now. Have my sympathy, mother. But this is politics. This is the country that you're going to be leaving behind. So we that go following, we got to talk about it. But have my sympathy. I'm sorry for the death of your son. And I know how you're feeling right now. But we got to talk about our country. And we got to talk about the mistake that you made. The mistake that you made. You people should never allow 9 years for House of Representatives. We should have gone by the same 4 years. The reason why 4 years is the Bureau Constitution was fashioned after that of the United States of America. So that within 4 years, if you're able to be sober, to do something, you got a chance of going by another 4 years. If in all else, they kick you out. How can you take a country like Liberia and put people who making $30,000 United States dollars for salary and got other $1,000 of dollar United States dollar that they got asset to, when people in the streets suffering? Why? The plan that I got, that I think that can face Liberia, I can't even mention it. I will only be talking to the God for God to provide the means, and God didn't want me to do that. He will make sure that will be. But I got his faith for that. At the end of the day, Boakai will get there. But we, those who that can pray, we must pray. Because if you listen to the air, people trying to make it, oh, because we're talking the truth. Talking the truth, you gotta be careful. The social media, the platform that discussing Liberia right now, and the Boakai administration, you gotta be careful how you try to criticize the Omen government. The Omen is facing a serious social political mess. Who to trust to put in government? That's what the Omen going to so. You understand putting pressure on him because that he talking that blah, that pure blah you talking there about Boakai. Who Boakai got to work with? The Omen, you said know who to employ. So with that, what we're supposed to be discussing, going after those corrupt government officials who are screwing up the country. And forget about the woman. The old man know what to do, but he need people to work with. That's the direction of the discussion on social media. We're supposed to take the targeting people, making recommendation what to do with them, making recommendation how the government should negotiate and see how we can build social services institution or buildings that are already standing up in the various countries that are not being used. Renovate them and open social services institution in the places so that people, social workers, the universities all around America, in Canada, they can send children for 6 months to do that placement. Those are doing social school or social work in America, in Canada, Europe, everywhere. They can do that 6 months study and go to Liberia and teach and train that program that I was trying to introduce to Liberia that nobody understood. When the children come, the teachers come, these students come, the university graduate students, they come to do that research and at the same time helping. Bring in people, ask the government to help people, bring people and train genuine social services personnel to be able to rehabilitate. Try to see how we can build rehabilitation centers to support the children and have a 10 years plan. Within 10 years time, we should be able to have somebody at least to work in government. Improve the educational system. Those that have gone to school got to go there and retrain them. Got to do retraining. As the government, federal government, want to take Liberians. That was hopeful when you did. When I was connected to top people. They told me that how the old man, that when the old man came with friends and told the French people to tell the government back, they were fighting. He came and call all of these people, the top people, say, you bring your relatives, whosoever you bring. He said, oh, I'll go to my family and send them to school. That time the Soviet Union was giving scholarship. A lot of them went there. Went to school in very area from engineering all the way to education, all the way to medicine. Every area of government, all for they send people all over the country. When he won the independence of Ivory Coast from the French, he brought in the French indirectly. So he was like indirectly fronting for the French government. He brought them in with the intention of developing Ivory Coast. And he started, any French company, he was sending all SAR of Ivory Coast. The development started from the Bar Africa coming to Abidjan. That the wisdom the old man used to develop that country. He had to send people to school in different disciplines. Today we got my father-in-law, our uncle-in-law, Dr. Dan, one of the best Dr. Liberia could have when the Ghanaian collector in Koforidua, they didn't release him. He there as a medical doctor in Koforidua. He's a Liberian, Dr. Dan. And many others. The good doctor that we have in that country, that the few that went to Soviet Union to go to school and few that went to America, because at the time, the Cold War, Liberia was America's ally. They couldn't interact too much with the Soviet Union. So but the first few that went, they were okay. From that time, they stopped. Most of all the people that they benefited from the scholarship. That's how they went to school. You can't have a country, everybody behaving like educated. How the hell did you get the education from? You want to go and memorize somebody talking, you stand around, blah, 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 blah. But then that person talking in your head, you're done with it. You're gone, you not disappear. You know, I feel perplexed about our country. So, those of you who tune in, let's share the video, and then may God bless our country. So that's why I'm saying, finally, to conclude, we have not yet started the process of recovering Liberia, because you cannot recover Liberia without recovering the children, the future leaders of the country that are all devastated in the street. There's no way. Even the ones that say they're going to school, the mischief school, they don't pour all over the country full money school. All those schools must be closed down. We got to make sure we get good teachers in the country. Because when you read, those children fought war all their lives. And they attend to men and women in the street. The children, what they got. The children, what they born, they just born the children. Those children going to the hospital, some of them. All kind of things happening with the children that are being born in contemporary Liberia. What can we do with the children? What should we do about them? Parents who cannot support their children. What is the process? I'm listening. I don't listen to none of those suggestions. Everybody trying to make it load of Boakai, not doing the Boakai. You expect for Boakai to operate in a redundant country? Liberia is a redundant country. Here the old man will try. If you get the right people, your hands on the right people, and put your foot down, they can do it. Under one method that you can use to develop Liberia. And I know it. And when I say it on set, I will wait for the opportunity to see who I can talk to, who I can meet and discuss that my country is dead. This is the only way to recover it. And when it's done, within 20 years' time, we'll talk about 20 years plan. You can't talk about recovering Liberia, you don't have a 20, 30 years plan. That don't waste your time. So, have a blessed day. May we talk about our country in a positive way. How can we recover the country? People coming and Boakai and doing the Boakai doing this. And that Boakai send those people to steal. The past government understood what the president role was in the corruption issue. And nobody better don't try to compare George Weah with Omen Boakai. Don't do that. It's a curse on you. Don't try it. And I'm surprised to show that the country got problem, you don't even know. Can you imagine people talking about Open coming back to power? And they're trying to paralyze the old man government for Open to come back to power? May God bless our country and our nation. God help and find the people who got the mind to help that country, to make the suggestion, to be able to recover the country, at least 25% of it. Get 25. Then somebody else should try and go to 50. At least when we reach 50, at least then we got a country. But now, forget it. It's God that holding up our country, because God always fight for the innocent people. He's fight for everyone, but when the people who are vulnerable, God is the one that stands for them, because the people who are supposed to stand for them have given up. They have lost their mind. They have lost their soul. So God stepped in for those people. Thank you. Have a blessed day. And share the video. And we will meet again. Bye. Have a blessed day.